because I believe science might offer an answer to the curse of the Bambino.
Why someone took so long to hire that guy is beyond me. Anybody who's not tearing their team down right now and rebuilding it using your model, they're dinosaurs. One of the great things about money is it buys a lot of things. One of which is the luxury to disregard what baseball likes, doesn't like, what baseball thinks, doesn't think. It's a threatening, not just a way of doing business, but in their minds, it's threatening the game.
How can you not be romantic about baseball?
All right, welcome to another Baseball Opps podcast with TopV. Moving right along, been some great shows. Got a great response, a lot of great response from the two podcasts ago with Noah and Jason Turley about the serious risks of weighted balls. If you haven't heard that episode, go back and check it out. You'll see the viewers have really exploded on that one. It's pretty much almost gone viral, and you wouldn't believe the coaches that have reached out to me and players and about just it and good things, really good things. Like they really enjoyed hearing the story. They really liked the advice and the knowledge that came with it. So really exciting to see already kind of the popularity that we're having with this podcast. So how are you enjoying it so far, Steven? Do you think this is doing well?
The podcast?
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome, man. A lot of good coaches on here, a lot of good business guys, a lot of good content for players and coaches. I think it's huge, man. It was a really good idea. I'll be the first to admit I was a little skeptical at first when you wanted to come out with it, but as your wisdom always does, you proved me wrong.
Hey, I wish I could say my wisdom is that, I guess, impressive, but I don't think it is.
So wise, dude, like Gandalf.
I'm not gonna take all the credit. Hey, so but it's been fun. Like I'm really enjoying the growth, and this is also a really good podcast because I think this speaks to a lot of guys out there that are really trying to be seen and heard and get an opportunity to play at a higher level or to continue to play. This year has just been one of those years where Major League Baseball is really, really tough. Or affiliate baseball has been incredibly tough to get into. Like I've been saying, I think indie ball is going to see the best talent they've seen, I think, ever. You were just today, we were talking about how Joel Zamayo is throwing 95 in indie ball this year. We've got Cody Hall throwing 95 in indie ball. We've got David Aardsma throwing close to mid-90s in indie ball. Who else do we know throwing hard in indie ball?
No, I remember a story of this kid who got signed into the Twins organization, like out of an art school in San Francisco, and he was throwing like high 90s to 100 miles per hour, and one of the guys playing in the California indie leagues said that he came out there trying to make the team out there. So they've got guys throwing hard, they've got tons of talent being pumped into it, into the indie team. So I think indie ball is going to be pretty fun to watch this year.
I think it is. I think it's impressive. So, and this is what this show is about. We're gonna be talking to David Aardsma's pitching coach, who David recommended we get him on the line, and so I gave him a call. He's a really good guy. Happened to find out we actually played in the same indie league together, which was cool. We share a little story, but it was really cool getting to know him because he's really gone out and started a little business on the side to help guys become prospects or be seen and get out there. Specifically, he's done, he said, I think last year he got like 40 guys into indie ball or something like that. So I think this is awesome. And he has this company called Meet a Prospect, and it gives you a free membership to basically put yourself out there and be recognized. So I'm excited about it. I think with recruiting services, like he says, there's a lot of money in it because there's a big need for it. But he's trying to do it for nothing, or if anything, really, really cheap. And I think right now it's just nothing. He's just trying. He wants to see growth. So ultimately, we want you at the end of this to want to go and sign up at Meet a Prospect for free, and see what happens and put yourself out there. But here's my request: as going through this, you're gonna hear his take, but really take the time to put together a good profile that you create at Meet a Prospect. Really take the time, not be elaborate, like you said, get to the point, but really lay it out, like what coaches need to know about you. Give them a good video, a good show, tell a good story, show them your training, have fun with it, and but take the time. Like, don't just create a profile and walk away. Like, go in there and put up some good stuff and make yourself look professional. That would be my advice to it. Any advice you got on it?
I would say he's got a bunch of coaches on there that are, indie league coaches, and I would start reaching out to people, start networking, start messaging guys like he kind of talks about in the interview. Go on there and ask coaches, and ask if you can go throw a bullpen for them, or ask them if they know somebody who you can go throw a bullpen for. Start getting your name out there, and start making things happen for yourself.
Exactly, hustle it. My perspective when I played was really, I wasn't a good networker. I was really good at just polishing what I had. So I think that's where, when I created the Top Velocity programs, which was really for me, so I could go out there and blow the socks off of anybody at any tryout, so the scouts would pay attention to me, and it worked. And I got a chance later in life after rotator cuff surgery to play indie ball, and I actually played with Billy Horn, who you're going to listen to. But that was my approach. But that's why you got Top Velocity. But on the other end, you got to get yourself out there. And today it's a lot more competitive than when I was coming up. So this helps, man. Go out there, and as much as you worked your butt off with this training, you got to hustle it and work your butt off with networking and getting yourself out there. It's like you wouldn't want to paint a masterpiece and then leave it in your basement, right? You'd want to paint a masterpiece and go show it off. So don't build yourself into a beast pitcher and just leave it in the gym. Let's put it out there. And I think, unfortunately, it's hard to get a lot of the guys here to understand that, hey, you're there. You're a testimonial. Let's put it out there. Mm-hmm. So it's good to have this. It's good to have Meet a Prospect for those guys to, hey, now you're ready to show off what you have. This is a good place to start. So, you're going to learn everything about it. I think the other big request I would ask is when you create these profiles, put, referred by Top Velocity or something like that, because I'd like to know how many of you guys are listening to this and going there. Just slip it somewhere in that profile. Hey, I was referred here by Top Velocity or by Brent Porcio. Even throw me down as a reference if you want. If you're going to throw me down as a reference, once you create your profile, send it to me. I'd like to look at it just so I know when someone calls me who you are. But please, why don't you do that? Throw me down or Steven down as a reference. I think that'll help, because Billy's going to talk about how important that is to having references in your profiles. But this should really be good for you guys. So I think this is going to help a lot of guys out there. So let's get started. All right, we got a special guest today, Billy Horn. Really excited about this. This is going to help a lot of guys out there that are looking to, ultimately live their dreams. I mean, it's the end of the day. That's what we're here trying to do, help guys kind of live their dreams of baseball, what they love to do. And Billy is that guy. So thanks for being on the show, Billy.
Hey, Brent, thanks a lot for having me on here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. So, I mean, I just met you through the DA. I mean, everybody knows the DA with me, David Ardsma, and he's playing with you guys. And so kind of go from there. Just talk about, tell them what you're doing now and kind of give them a little run through your resume. I read your resume, and I'm going to add some things to it, but kind of start with that.
Yeah, well, right now this year I'm the pitching coach for the Long Island Ducks in the Atlantic League, which everybody knows the Atlantic League. It's kind of the top shelf of independent baseball, and this is my fourth year now in independent baseball. The last couple of years I was in Ottawa in the Can-Am League, and coming in this year, I'm very fortunate enough to have a really good ball club, and one of our big dogs is the DA, and when I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, I like to call all of my pitchers and introduce myself and just say, hey, welcome to the club. I'm excited to work with you, kind of thing. And then, and I told DA, I said, when I got off the phone with him, I felt like I was talking to a rookie. and what I mean is he's just so humble. You'd never know that the guy's got, 8+ years in the big leagues. And, he's here to learn. He's here to help out with, anything that, maybe the pitching staff may need, and obviously help himself out. So, he's very welcoming, and he's just like, well, where are you from? What do you do? And I said, well, I grew up, in the Bronx, New York, very close to here. And I've been in Florida for the last 20 years because I hate cold weather. So, and I told him about what I have going on the side, which is Meet a Prospect. And I just got really sick and tired just from coaching high school and college, and, having my own little business on the side there where I would do lessons and all this other stuff. Just trying to help guys move on to the next level, whether it be, high school to college or college to pro. And I've seen guys charge upwards of $4,000 or $5,000 just to get recruited, and I just find that highway robbery. It was just awful. So I came up with this idea, and I said, there's nothing out there where not only can an athlete have a chance to be looked at or scouted or talk to, coaches, scouts, or agents. But also, what about for the coaching side? There's a lot of recruiting sites and a lot of coaching. A lot of colleges don't have the $150 or $200 a month in their recruiting budgets to look for athletes. So, I came up with this concept. It's totally free, and but it's not just for baseball. We're just starting out. About 4 months in, we've got almost 250 people on there. Connecting and getting jobs, and just trying to help men and women. High school, college, and pro, all athletes, all sports. It's just basically a social network to connect, and and so far we've had a little bit of success with it. We're really happy about that.
Yeah. So before we dive into everything about Meet a Prospect, I want to go over. If I ever get a chance to talk about my glory days, I do. Man, we kind of crossed paths, maybe just missed each other. But you were at Long Beach Armada, which was this when you played in the Golden League, where I played with the San Diego Surf Dogs. So talk about that. So what was the Golden League like? That was a decent caliber indie league, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great. They were really trying to make that like the Atlantic League, but for the West Coast. And then after we had come and gone, us big name independent foreign league players, they had the likes of Ricky Henderson, Canseco, the late Hideki Arabu.
And Mark Pryor in there.
Mark Pryor was out there, and
Jose Lima.
Yeah, another.
I think Sergio Romo went through there.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Sergio was out there, and then all the managers there were all big league guys. You had Mark Parent. I played for Darrell Evans. Les Lancaster was out there.
Terry Kennedy.
Yeah, TK was out there. So that was a really, really good league, and I was glad I went out there, and it really opened up my eyes onto how kind of independent ball works. And I was, a young kid. I was 25, 26. I had a couple of years in the Italian League, had some good seasons, and it was fun. I really enjoyed it. Really opened my eyes to what independent ball is all about.
How horrible was it playing in Yuma?
I can't say it was that bad because I do go to Yuma every February, and I work the Arizona
I feel
Winter
horrible
League,
for you.
It's Yuma. There's great people out there and everything, but
the weather
and playing out there, it was tough, man. It was tough.
So we're coming to play from San Diego. That was the hardest thing. Driving from San Diego to Yuma was going from heaven to hell.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're driving from, which is probably the closest team, right? We're like the closest team to Yuma because Mesa was gone at the time. So we're driving across Arizona, and our bus overheats 3 times. Like, they had to change buses. We had to sit on the side of the road while they got another bus. And we finally get to this game, and we get to the game. The game was supposed to start at like 7. We get to the game at like 11. And there's people still in the stands. And the head of the league is like, you guys have to play. And we refused to play because we had been in a bus for like 5 hours in 120-degree weather with not enough food. And we literally told TK we weren't going to play. And he stood up for us. He said, I'll support you. And the league tried to basically take all of our contracts and suspend us and not let us play. And TK stood up for us, and because we refused, we didn't even walk out on the field, and they had to tell everybody to go home.
That doesn't surprise me.
But this is what everyone thinks of when they think of indie ball, though, right?
Yeah, I think so. Especially back just only like 5 years ago, I was out in the Pecos League coaching out there, and it was a little bit. It was a lot much so along those lines. And then they had the TV show, so it was a good pub for that league, but it kind of gave independent ball a little bit of a bad name. Yeah. Where, this isn't bad. You go to the Atlantic League, you go to the top 4 independent leagues: Frontier, American Association, Can-Am, and especially the Atlantic League. You're going to find a lot of organizational guys, big league guys that are trying to segue their back to an organization or back to the big leagues, or back into an organization for the first time. So. Independent ball is not. It's not just bad bus rides and peanut butter and jelly.
But no, you're right. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know how to get into the good leagues, is what you're saying.
Yeah, networking. It's just like anything else with any other business. It's I'll tell you what I learned about this business, about the independent side. If you want to coach an independent ball, and I've learned it from Halanier, who was my manager the last 2 years. He was manager here in the big leagues. Brooks Carey, who's a really good friend of mine, who recommended me for the job, who manages in the Frontier League. They said, if you want to coach an independent ball, you need to be able to do just three things. And can you throw BP? Can you get players? And can I live with you for 6 months, or you're a good guy? So it doesn't matter if you're this 10-year big league veteran guy, but if you're not a good guy, or you can't really teach well, or whatever the case may be, it's going to be tough for you to get a job. So that's it. It's pretty simple. Throw BP, get players, and just don't be a douche.
Right, exactly. But I mean, there is some like athletic requirements. I mean, you're not going to take guys. You're not going to look at guys throwing 82. I mean, velocity still is a bit of an indicator. What else is an indicator?
I tell you, it's kind of like recruiting in independent ball. It's kind of like recruiting for college, because you got to live and die with these guys. And obviously, yes, experience, does matter. Certain leagues, they have, you can have a certain amount of rookies, but on the players' side, yeah, you got to be able to throw strikes. When I get a pitcher's name, for instance, and I do player procurement, so the first thing I go is, all right, I look him up. All right, I see how many innings he's had, not only the last year but in his career. I go innings pitched, then I go right to the walks. Innings pitched, I go to the strikeouts. Innings pitched, and then number of hits he's given up. So if he's got good numbers, then what I like to do is I kind of do my snooping around, whether it be on Facebook, Instagram, or I'll call guys who have either played with this guy professionally or collegiately, and then, hey, what's he like in the clubhouse? And again, if you come up to, hey, he's not a good guy, he starts fights, or just bad clubhouse guy, I just move on to the next guy, and that's the way it is. But if he's a good guy, good numbers, odds are he's going to get an opportunity if all else goes well, meaning there's room on the club, there's money on the salary cap that'll fit that kind of guy's experience.
So I can see like Meet a Prospect grew a lot because that's what you do really within being a coach. It's kind of the similar thing. You're just helping, in a way, you're helping them do it for other teams, or you're kind of offering your same services for them to connect to other teams.
Yeah, exactly. We came up with the concept because, obviously my background, I've never played in the big leagues. I don't have a big league pension or anything like that. So, I try and tell guys, in a sense, I'm in the same boat as you are as a player, even though I'm a coach. I'm trying to make it to the big leagues, just like anybody else. So, when I talk to these guys, it's all about the grind. And listen, it's cost me a couple of times getting engaged over the years. I constantly miss, birthdays and holidays or whatever it is. So I try to open up the eyes and minds of players where, here, this is what you got to do, okay? And again, on the website, it's very easy. You just go to www.meetaprospect.com. You create your own profile. You can put up a bio. You can put up stats. You can put up YouTube links to videos. And the other cool thing is you can just generally search anybody that's on there. And so far, we've had 5 guys already from January 2nd land pro contracts. And these aren't, just a spring training invite to the worst league in the world. I mean, just the other day, we had a guy got a job in the Can-Am League from my website. And I broadcast that and want to let guys know that, it works and it's free. That's the best thing. And, you can just go on there, create a profile, and, just connect with the world. And it's totally free. So we have some goals, on that on the long end with our website, trying to launch that into different phases as we go along. But, like I said, it's free, it's easy, and we're just trying to help people connect.
All right, so I'm on the website. It's meetaprospect.socialgo.com. So that's got to spell better than that. meetaprospect.socialgo.com. So I'm here. And so there's a search feature just right out of the box. I can kind of search, or does everyone have to have a profile?
Yeah, well, you got to search who's on there. Yeah.
So how do I search? Where's my search feature?
So if you basically go, I'm getting on the website there. It's right up top, right when you go. Do you see where it says people?
Yeah.
Click on people, and then
there they are.
Bam! It'll say to the left, what do we have? 236 members so far today. And then you can just scroll through. I mean, look at all the guys right up top.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Independent manager. independent manager, James Hopkins, who's the my business partner, and we're the co-founders of Meet a Prospect. And then, I mean, anybody that's on there, you can just boom. For instance, you can go to Ryan Powell. Like Ryan's a good friend of mine, scout with the Orioles. Boom, click on Ryan's profile, and you can just send him a message. Hey, Ryan, I know you live in the South Florida area. I'm looking for an opportunity. Can you help me out with whatever? Can I come throw a bullpen? Can you send me somewhere? So, and again, like I said, the concept was, to reach out and connect with as many people as we can.
So would you suggest when they sign up and they become a member, would you suggest they really put up a good bio? Because I'm seeing they all have these little bio sections.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys where you just click on their name and there's really not much on there. But then I just clicked on, for instance, if you click on Brian Hoover, he's on the first page. Brian, good guy. He's got everything on there. His height, his weight, where he's from, his experience. He's got his
all
phone
these
number.
videos. Yeah, so you
He's got
really
his
got to
email,
go in
links,
there and
videos.
take some time.
Yeah. It's
Cool. Do you help them in any way make their profiles better or no?
I do. I mean, right now I can because there's only 230 something people on there. And generally I get a lot of Facebook instant messages, or someone will hit me up on the site directly. And then what I'll do, if there's an issue, I'll just contact my admin guy and he'll take care of it. Boom, boom. But, once we grow and once we get, 5, 8, 10,000 members on there, we'll start to grow as a company. We're a very cash poor business. I mean, we're just paying for everything out of pocket. And again, we're not charging anybody anything. So, right now it's kind of pro bono, but, the long-term goal of this is obviously to turn it into, a pretty big, consulting firm, maybe an agency, down the road. And we can get into that, because that kind of correlates with my goals as a coach down the road.
Well, that's cool, man. I want to send all my testimonials to you. That'd be a good thing, right? When they become testimonials to me, I send them to you, right?
Absolutely. And if there's anybody out there that's listening and they have their own little business or anything, what I like to do with Meet a Prospect is, it's all about advertising and networking. So what I like to do is just co-network with other businesses. So, we've been doing it all the time where, hey, I sell bats or I sell hats or whatever. Can you help, email, blast for me? So I'll go on all the major social networks and I'll say, XYZ Bat Company, check them out, friend of mine. And then what I just ask in return is, hey, just spread the word on Meet a Prospect.
Yeah, because, I mean, really what you are, difference between me and you, is you're out in the field. Like, you're out in the battles. You're in the trenches, meeting a lot of people and networking with a lot of people. I mean, I don't get that opportunity. I'm sitting in my own little island over here. So you actually are out there networking, and that's really what allows you to really help a lot of people, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, on a selfish end, it's been able to help me in my career, get me to where I am,
Yeah.
So right. It's all about being out there. The other difference is you have a beautiful set of hair and I don't. I have the
That's
Derek,
what you and DA got in common. Come on, man. No wonder y'all signed DA.
Yeah. I try to have the more bald guys, the better.
There's not many of them, to tell you the truth.
We're almost 40, so I'm trying to look as much like a player as I can. So I want some older, old-looking guys. Not that DA's old-looking, but trying to want to, still look young and look like a player, not a coach out there.
That's priceless. He'll love to hear that. Well, good. So that's exciting. So, to anyone, you really want anyone to sign up for this? I mean, because you're probably going to get a lot of people from just this podcast. Is there a certain requirement you need to say, don't sign up until you're this guy, or are you just open for anybody?
Well, kind of in between. We don't want to turn anyone down because, again, it's not like a travel organization where we're charging, where we don't want, some kid who's coming out there wearing jean shorts who doesn't know how to throw a baseball to come out and play. But again, it is for anybody. It's for all sports. It's, the way we want to do it is, for instance, let's say you're a women's volleyball coach, at a D3, in Iowa. You want to just be able to go, okay, I need a female, volleyball player between 5'7" and 5'10" with a GPA of this and an ACT score of this, located in this region of the country. And so, with that being said, I want it to be able to populate where there's 10 players in here that are graduating in this year. And then the coaches can then say, okay, we've got these, out of these 10, we're interested in these 3. So let's look at their schedule, because as an athlete, post up your schedule, whether it's practice or in game. All right, we're going to go see, or you as the recruiting coordinator, you're going to go see these 3 or 4, athletes in this area, and we're going to sign one of them. And again, the disadvantage for a lot of universities now is they don't have the $100 or the $150 or whatever it is in their budget monthly to pay. And I remember when I was coaching college, I coached at Lynn in 2009 and 2009 national champs. No, sorry about it, Tampa and everything, but
That's awesome.
but it was tough because our recruiting coordinator, he missed like every practice, and he was over here, he was over there, he's over here, he's over there. So I mean, you're running practice with two guys, maybe. Who's going to throw BP today? So my goal is to have it more targeted for coaches to, okay, I know I'm going to be without this coach for this practice or these X amount of practices, but guess what? Instead of throwing, what do they say? You throw like a dart at the map and wherever it lands, at least you're going to be targeted. You're going to know where you're going, and it's going to also cut down on the recruiting budget.
So how much are you involved in that process? I mean, was that a lot of automated activity you were talking about? Are you there helping them kind of weed through the recruits, or are you making calls? Like, how involved are you, say, once someone signs up?
In regards to the website?
Yeah.
Oh, as soon as somebody signs up, I try my best, and my business partner, we try our best just to reach out and say, hey, welcome to Meet a Prospect. If there's anything we can do for you, kind of let us know. And then, now that we're in the season, I mean, I'm working my 12-hour days, but, in the morning or at night, whenever I have some free time, I go on the website and just see who's new on there and browse. And then I'll say, hey, make sure you put up some video, or, hey, put up your schedule, or whatever the case may be. But like I said, once we get into the couple of thousands, of subscribers on there and end users, it's I don't want to be so much of the hold handing, because again, throughout the recruiting process, we're looking for, young men and young women who are capable of doing all this on their own. I mean, it's like you can bring the horse to the water, you can't make him drink kind of thing. So, and I know from coaching college and everything that, we don't want the kid that needs to be pampered. We don't want the kid, with the parent who's, going to email the coach, 3 times a week, why is my son not playing? Or, why are you doing this with practice? That's the last thing that you really want. So we try to dummy it down as best as possible and just say, hey, here it is. Boom, sign up, add this, add that, add this, and add that. But as we add more features, we're going to obviously blast it out more and say, hey, Meet a Prospect, we just added this new feature, so check it out.
So cool. So you obviously have coaches frequenting this, or are you still helping to kind of go out to coaches to alert them of prospects?
Well, it's funny you say that, because I got a text from a manager in the American Association the other day at 7-something a.m. He's like, hey, man, I think he needed an outfielder. And I'm like, just waking up, looking at my phone, and I'm thinking, I'm not an agent, But, I wound up sending the guy like 4 or 5 names because, we're full here in Long Island, and I know this guy's looking for a job or that guy's looking for a job. So that's what I try and do. When we were playing, we really didn't have anyone out there that was doing it for guys like us, but with this advancement in technology and, I figure why not utilize, what I have here to not only bring the best talent to Long Island, but all right, for instance, this team needs an infielder. We're full on infielders. So I'm not going to, have this guy sit and not have a job, just in case we open up a spot in 2 months. That's just not the right thing to do for the player. So what I do is I just try and, help out as many players as possible. And, it's funny. I went through my Rolodex. I got, I hate to talk about what I do, but, I helped over 40 guys land jobs last year in every independent league, including the Atlantic League. And I wasn't in the Atlantic League. So, I would send guys to a higher level league if we didn't have room under the salary cap or whatever the case may be. So, and again, it helped me get into this position I'm at right now, being with the Ducks. And, so, my career can now go, one of 3 or 4 ways. So, I'm real thankful, and I'm glad that we're able to do this for free. And it's always going to be free, for athletes and coaches. There's not going to be, once you're in, the bronze, silver, and gold, where then you start ripping people off. That's just not what I believe in. My business partner doesn't believe in that. So,
let's talk about that. Let's talk about the recruiting market. It's a huge market. It's probably one of the most profitable aspects of baseball as far as the market of baseball. So, why do you think the market is so profitable, and how do they weed through through the mess? Like, what really should a recruiting service do for you?
Well, the bottom line is what recruiting services should do is just they should evaluate your talent, your skills, and also your academic standards, and match you up with the schools or schools, universities, or pro clubs that you should maybe play for or attend. I literally thought of, you take Match.com and you take Facebook and you marry it together, but for athletes. And that's the thing. I mean, I don't want a kid with a 2.1 GPA who maybe is a decent ball player. That kid's not going to Harvard or Yale. So, what it should do is it's all right. You got a 2.0 or a 2.1. You can go to Lynn University. Hello, and you can go there and play. And that's what the recruiting process should do. It should be a very easy way to help. Because at the recruiting process, it starts early now. It doesn't start in your 11th grade, junior year. I mean, kids are getting recruited now in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade off of these travel teams. So, I think in a way for your working class family, the mom and dad who work from 9 to 5, it should be a way where, they spend their hour or whatever it is at night with their kid. It should be very easy for them to help, navigate where they're going to spend their future, as opposed to, mom or dad coming home and, spending 5 hours, looking for colleges and sending out letters. And, that's what recruiting services should do because they charge so much for it. So, we're trying to make that process as easy as possible, without dinging you in the pocket, $500 or a couple of $1,000 a month.
So is it important that they have these these high def recruiting videos, these professionally edited recruiting videos to put out there? Is that important?
I think it is. If I can give any advice to any kids is stay away from the music on there. Especially nowadays, with the way kids, put up, videos with certain music. I mean, if I would do it today, I'd probably do it to a Lionel Richie song or something like that. I'm a big 80s guy, but, my thing is, especially when I was coaching at Lynn, if I would get an email, okay, this kid would write an email, it'd be 15 paragraphs long, which I do not read. Coaches don't read it. They will go to the video and take a look at one swing. If you can swing the bat, we'll watch the rest of the video and then read your accolades and such. But if you write this big long email and your swing is terrible or you can't throw or you're just a terrible athlete, it's just going to get deleted. And I'm a northeastern guy, so I grew up in the Bronx, went to high school in southern Westchester, just north of the Bronx, and I thought I was this big bad wolf coming out of the Northeast, and hit almost 400 in high school, which that's nothing, because you talk to these parents all the time who try and get involved with the recruiting process, which I'd like to talk to you about that next topic. But you're in the Northeast, you're facing guys that are throwing 70 miles an hour. Nobody cares if you hit 600 with 13 home runs in 19 games or whatever. So guys kind of get lost up there. And then when I came down here to go to Lynn, guys were throwing 93, 94 miles an hour. And I was like, I got a really good arm. Let me try pitching. So, guys tend to get lost in there. So, to long-windedly answer your question, make your emails that you send out very short, very crisp, very professional, and then have those really nice videos on there. Try not to have it in someone's backyard at a barbecue where your Uncle Frank is cursing in the background and you're hitting water balloons. I mean, they should be, live game. Or I know a lot of guys pay a lot of money to do lessons. So, maybe have your lesson guy, set up things if you're a basket shooting free throws or, shooting 3-pointers or, hockey, maybe a little skills, shooting the puck in all different parts of the net, maybe your skating skills and things like that. So, and I would also always include references because references are really, really important. I really don't think coaches are lying for a kid because that's the kid's reputation. So, make sure you got some good references on there and, hopefully, I mean, there's over, I think it was 1.1 million, student athletes that are in high school right now. I mean, it's just crazy. So our goal at Meet a Prospect was, man, if we can get, 10,000 people on there, which is like less than 0.01%, we're doing okay. So, There's a lot of athletes out there, and there are a lot of people looking for opportunities. And I just hope that, we can continue to help people, get pro contracts or, get scholarships, whether it's a, male or female athlete, whether it's Division I or NAIA or whatever the case may be.
So just hearing you say kind of that email going out as far as keeping it short, really kind of laying it out, your accolades and your references, and then having a good video to really show your skill without music. That's something that they should post up on their profile just on Meet a Prospect, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, right there, you're sending it out to, as many, colleges, as many coaches, scouts, and agents that are on there. And again, you kind of have to sift through it and read, see who's on there. But there are agents on there. I mean, there's a couple of really big agencies that are on there that are looking at players all the time. And luckily, like I said, like you had said, because I'm out here in the trenches, I get contacted by a lot of agents, looking for talent.
All right. Well, cool. So I guess give them like some key things to do to kind of help increase their chances of getting an opportunity or an offer or a scholarship or a contract. give them some key things that they should do after they sign up at Meet a Prospect.
Well, after they sign up, I think they should constantly update their profile with in-season and out-of-season schedules. I'm a big fan of. I like when guys are putting up their male or female athletes workouts in the gym of them in the off season, because it shows this guy's dedicated, he's getting after it. Constantly update it with your GPA, maybe an ACT score, an SAT score, anything like that, for the high school guys. And live game footage. It's one thing that I highly recommend is, if you're on there, and I would put out a big, blast like, hey, I'm throwing Friday night, against this school at this time. And then, what a lot of parents do, they have the iPad, they put it on the fence, and then boom, you can see my son. So it's also in a sense to help cut down on recruiting trips for coaches, because, a lot of coaches, they get wind, hey, this kid's good, he's got this, he's got that, or she's got this and that. And then you miss a practice, maybe you drive 2 hours or whatever the case may be. So, and then you get there and you're like, man, this guy or girl doesn't have it, So it would be great for the athlete to be seen by the college or colleges beforehand. So then they'd be like, all right, hey, Mr. Head Coach, Mrs. Head Coach, let's watch this game, or I watched this game last night. Look what this kid can do, and I think this kid, okay, great. Boom, go to the AD. So now instead of you missing 2 practices, now maybe you miss 1 or maybe none. So I would just constantly update it with, any information. Another good thing is, and it's funny too, in colleges, they always look for anything besides your sport. Are you volunteering, at the hospital? Are you, donating blood? Whatever it is, excuse me, anything good that you're doing, should be noted, and it should be, made public. That's what social media is for. I'd rather look and see a guy go to a blood drive than see some idiot at a party doing something stupid at 3 a.m. to be honest.
Good point. And would you recommend them putting any metrics up there, like, obviously velocity or, 60 time bat speed? I don't know. I mean, would you recommend any of that?
I mean, if you run a 6.5 60, I would put that on there. If you're a ball player, if you run a 4.6 40 as a football player, I'd put it up there. I mean, but if you're a wide receiver and you run a 4.9 or a 5.1, I really wouldn't put that on there. I would
highlight something else, right?
I would really try and gear on. Well, look how good my hands are. Look how good my blocking skills are. Look how good of a teammate I am. Whatever the case may be. I would try and just put things on there that are going to really make you stand out. But would you recommend? You're not lying, but you want to stand out.
Would you recommend linking to any like scouting profiles, like say Perfect Game or something like that?
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not looking to steal any business away from anybody. The fact that it's a free social media network, there's no NCAA violations. You could always contact a coach. There are certain periods of the year where NCAA coaches can't contact an athlete, but if an athlete contacts a coach first, it's game on. So this has given them an opportunity to get game on, for instance, going without having to wait or without having to, spend the money and just put yourself out there. That's all it is.
Well, cool. Well, could I suggest that they put Top Velocity on there if they've been referred through us? Maybe that's a way we can find out how they got there, huh?
Absolutely. Top Velocity, tried, trusted, and true. You guys are doing a great job over there. One day I'd love to come on out there and, maybe take a little weekend getaway.
Heck yeah, that'd be awesome.
And,
come down with DA and you can see how we train, man.
yeah, I don't know if I'm going to wear the 300 mask and suit, but 300 episode.
You saw that episode? Oh God.
Yeah, as DA was crushing a large sausage and meatball and pepperoni pizza.
So did that affect him in the recruiting process? Since that's one of those videos, yes or no?
Yeah, he's okay. He's all right. It was all for social media. He's got in the show. He's all right. But,
well, good. I'm glad that didn't affect him, and you guys still signed him. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Billy, I really appreciate this, man. I think this is an awesome opportunity for kids, and I hope they all go right now to sign up at Meet a Prospect, and that's meetaprospect.socialgo.com, and create your profile. And any last words?
Yeah. The one last thought I can give you is, when the kids are going through the recruiting process, and how parents are so heavily involved these days. I would recommend having that sit down and talk with your parents. And, I appreciate everything and thank you so much. And I want you by my side. But, when it comes to, meeting with coaches and things of that nature, please allow me to be there on my own and do it myself, because, a lot of college coaches are now bringing the parents on the recruiting trips just to see what kind of parent they're getting. And, if you get a kid who's, very codependent on his parents, or, mom asks too many questions or dad emails too much, you could lose yourself a scholarship. So I'm not saying the parents completely stay away, but, you really got to let these kids grow up on their own, because, when they're on the mound or in the batter's box, or, behind center or on the volleyball court, mom and dad can't help you out. And that's what really, college coaches are looking for. So, if there's ever anything on there, you can hit me up right there on meetaprospect.socialgo.com. And, we look forward to helping guys and girls get scholarships, get jobs. And you could also go to the Facebook page. If you just go Meet a Prospect, it's on our Facebook page, and guys are constantly posting on both pages. And, we're just here to help everybody out, and it's a win-win all the way around.
Cool. Any other social media? Like, are you on Twitter, Instagram?
Yeah, we have Twitter, we have the Instagram, Facebook. What's the other one we're on there? LinkedIn. LinkedIn has been really good for us, actually, because, there aren't a lot of athletes per se on there, but there are a lot of parents on there. And I'm in a couple of groups, and we just, hey, this is what we're doing. Here's our success story. And, my business partner texted me the other day. He's like, every day we're getting anywhere from 100 to 200 hits on Google. And then the other day when we had one of the players signed in the Can-Am League from the website, we had over 600 hits. So, again, for a small company, a cash poor business, if you want to call it that, we're really doing okay right now. And, again, we're trying to just build it up and just go from there.
Well, that's exciting, man. I wish you guys the best. I look forward to see it growing, and I appreciate you doing this, man. And we'll keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. And I like that little Ricky Henderson.
Yeah. Remember, oh, look, I should have brought that up. That's hilarious, huh?
Yeah. Real quick, when we played San Diego, I wasn't pitching that day, but first pitch, maybe a couple of balls outside, strike. Ricky starts complaining. Second pitch, maybe about 3 or 4 balls outside. Ricky starts complaining. The umpire throws him out of the game. We couldn't believe it. So Ricky, when he got thrown out of the game, he then walked up the stands and sat behind their dugout, watched the half of the inning, gave his batting gloves away, gave his bats away, and then when he walked away and went to the clubhouse, we might have had 4,100 people that day. There was about 600 left after he got thrown out. Don't throw out Ricky Henderson.
They threw out the guy that they came to see. That's not good.
2 pitches. He's the only guy I've ever heard of that has struck out on 2 pitches. They recorded it as a strikeout. It doesn't make sense.
I've never heard it before. All the stories I heard of Ricky, because I came the year after him, was he always referred to himself in the third or first person.
Yes, and Ricky always needed 10 towels.
Yeah, I wish I was there. He was a legend, man.
Good stuff.
Well, cool.
Good guy. Good guy.
Thanks, man. We'll talk soon. Appreciate it. That was awesome.
You got it, my man. Talk to you soon.
All right, well, just learned something. It's actually simpler just to go to metaprospect.com. So metaprospect.com. So, we were just talking about how it was this long domain with social.go, but it's just metaprospect.com. So that's easy for you guys to go there and get started.
I think you spelled meat wrong. Just to, you
M-E-E-T.
said M-E-T.
M-E-E-T.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
A
Sorry, you're right.
prospect.
M-E-E-T. I actually did that earlier with Billy. So cool. So go ahead and create that. I'm going to be excited to check it and see how many guys are signing on there. And like I said, put Top Velocity on there as a referral. That would be pretty cool. And I'm excited. Like Steven, you just said you already called a few of your buddies and you told them about it.
Yeah.
To go and sign up.
Yeah, I told them to start networking because they're looking to go play indie ball. So.
Yeah, and you know what? I think those guys out there that look at indie ball kind of as second rate, I understand that, but you really got to ultimately look at it if you're a guy who you're not going to be a draft pick or you're going to have a hard time getting a free agency, sign or be a free agent signee. You need to be looking at indie ball as really a first step, not so much second option. It's really a first step to getting into affiliate ball. Because I remember when I went to a scouting bureau tryout back in the day and was throwing, I was sitting like 91, 92 and hit 94, and scouts came up to me and they were impressed, and I went and threw to cross-checker for the Twins and spoke with the cross-checker for the Blue Jays, or actually the director of scouting with the Blue Jays. They basically told me straight up, because of my age, they said, look, you're 26 years old. That's when I actually had gotten into the 90s, and you're throwing, basically low to mid 90s. We've got 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds doing that. So, if you were younger, we would have signed you right here, but we just need to see, obviously, that you can play, obviously at, say, a higher level to where we'd feel more comfortable maybe putting you in at maybe a high A level or a double A level. So we'd recommend you go and play some indie ball. So, affiliate ball actually recommended me to go play indie ball. And even this year, because we have so many guys, like I said, in indie ball this year, I was talking to some of my contacts in affiliated ball, coordinators and directors and scouts saying, hey, what do I do with all these, actually some of them ex-big leaguers, ex-affiliated guys? What do I do with them? They're looking for a chance to play, and these guys are very talented. And they all said, look, we're pretty much set. Rosters are set till June. Make sure they go into indie ball and stay active. So affiliated ball does use indie ball. So, I've been advised from affiliated ball that my guys should go into indie ball and stay active because that gives them something to look at. They don't want to consider you in June when you haven't pitched a game, and they got to bring you in and slowly build you up. They want you to be ready, and that's what indie ball does for you. So don't look at it as, I hear a lot of people completely don't even consider it. I think it's crazy.
Well, shoot, look at the story of what's his name, Marcus Thames, I think, the guy on the Brewers, goes and plays in the KBO, Korean baseball organization, which is people have kind of considered just a bad league. I think they've considered it like double A level. He tears it up, gets a $15 million contract. And there's, a bunch of guys, I think.
That's crazy.
I think, who's the guy on the Dodgers that pitched with the A's? I believe he was in the indie leagues for a little bit.
The lefty, Casimir?
No, he might have been too, and to rebuild his career. Rich Hill, I think, is his name,
Hill,
right?
yeah.
Wasn't he?
Well, like I said, your guy, Sergio Romo, started in my league, the Golden League, and built his name and then moved into affiliated ball.
Yeah, I just think it's all about getting to the highest level of competition that you can get to and building good stats there, and that's your best way to keep moving up the ranks.
Right, and the only thing I don't like to hear is when guys, because I play with a guy who, very talented guy, I played big league ball, Steve Smythe. Smythe actually played, he'd play indie ball with us, and then I think he went to Korea for winter, and then came back and played in the Mexican League, and then he would wind back up in indie ball again. So it's like
Just bouncing around trying to make money or what?
Yeah, just making money. But he never stopped. And then when he would come to us and the season be ending, man, he was just fried. Like his ball speed was like mid 80s at the time. So I wouldn't recommend obsessively playing, but you do need to consider these other options. You know, Venezuela is great. Has a great ball. You know, I played in Europe. The Netherlands is the best ball in Europe. Italy's next to the Netherlands, but there is lower levels there, like you know, Belgium, Prague, Germany. Those are all great places to play, and from there potentially you work up to the Netherlands and Italy, and then of course all of your Latin Americas, all of your Asian cultures. It's
Australia
is another really great place to play. But how are you going to get context there? I was about to play in Australia, and I met the Australian national team coach, and then I wound up pitching against him in Germany and beating him, and we almost brawled, and then he didn't want to talk to me anymore. So I would have played in Australia if I would have done a better job, smoozing.
You had just gotten shelled.
Yeah, just let him shell me. Yeah, I was playing a double-edged sword. That wouldn't have worked either. But the point is, like, how are you going to get to Australia if you don't know anyone in Australia? So I remember I was just literally calling buddies that played over there. So
Yep.
That's what I think that's a great thing with meet a prospect. It's like you might meet a coach who also works with a coach who plays, who coaches in Australia or something like that. It is all networking, guys. And you start realizing when you look at it, you're like, man, I don't really have big networks. Then that's why you got to get on these kind of websites that are going to help you network like this.
Yeah, and another thing too is never burn a bridge in baseball. Like I think a lot of guys can
Because
get
it's
mad
so
at their
competitive,
coaches
yeah.
or something like that. And like Billy was talking about, you need these guys as references. You need to be able to put your coach down because indie teams they make that a big thing. Are you a good clubhouse guy? So them, being able to call in and see how you are with your teammates and learn a little bit about your character, that's a big evaluation point for them.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, man, a lot of the big leaguers that I knew, they either were, they just either kept their mouth shut and did their job, or they were really good people, like David Ardsma.
Yeah,
like
great
people person. Like really, everybody likes David.
Yes.
He's a good guy, even though David
can be a bit of a bully.
David could be a bit of a bully.
I lived with him for a little bit, so
he can.
He could be a bit of a bully. So I just had to put him in his place.
Yeah.
I had to fight him a little bit.
I don't know about that.
You didn't see the video of us wrestling? Come on now.
No, I've heard the stories, but and other guys that I've known are typically good guys, good people guys, like Chris Medlin, right? The coolest guy in the world.
Yeah, great guy.
And we wish the best for him. So the point is, like, guys, you got to understand politics is a big part of this, and it's tough too. There's a lot of times, specifically coming up high school and college, where your coach is you didn't get on the right side of your coach, and you feel like they screwed you or whatever. But I'm telling you, man, that's how it works.
Yep.
I mean, you got to understand that's a big card to play in this game, is the political card. But you don't want to just have that card. So it's like, my advice is, like Top Velocity, come here, be the better version of yourself, and then network and learn how to get it out there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Another great episode. Hopefully we'll have another awesome one for you. It's hard to top each one. If you have any questions or you have any comments on or suggestions on who we should interview on the Baseball Ops podcast with TopV, let us know, and we'll see you on the next episode.